Now on to probably the most feared way of getting contact information. Boots on the ground, actually walking into stores to see if you can make a connection with the buyer. It's actually pretty doggone good. Stay with us. If you're an entrepreneur and you are trying to sell into retail, you better be spending a lot of time in retail. You would be surprised how many people I've talked to that have said, hey, I think my product would do great in Walmart. And I start asking them questions to realize that I don't think they've ever actually been inside of a Walmart. We're going to talk about store walks a lot throughout this journey. I think there's probably going to be an entire series on how to walk stores. But there is so much information inside of a store that people just overlook. What's working, what's selling, what's not selling. And you can get all that information in store, promotional stuff, competitive information. And yes, you can even get connected to buyers by walking into a store. Now, I would say the last thing you want to do is walk into a store asking for a buyer. There is a little bit of a process, a little bit of a dance around this one. You're going to want to find out who the real players are. So let's say we're going to go into sporting goods. You know, when you first walk into that store, you might walk around sporting goods. You might see an associate there that's not even a sporting goods associate. They might just be stocking the shelves for some reason, right? You're going to want to ask for a department manager first. That department manager, especially if it's a local store for you, should become your best friend. They are going to have so much information for you. You can ask them what's selling, what's not selling, what are customers asking for, right? And a lot of times that will lead to really good conversations. And then eventually they're going to ask, well, why are you asking? And then just be real with them. Like, hey, I've got this product. I've been trying to figure out how to sell it in. They might say, hey, you should talk to the store manager. They might say, hey, I don't care. I think that product's dumb. Here's another nice thing about going into stores is that if you hit a store and a roadblock and someone that's just in your way, go to another store. Just walk into another store and hit replay and you might get a completely different result. Most likely the person that has the most contact or influence that would be able to help is a store manager, the person who manages the entire store, but not always. If you're going in and starting a relationship with a department manager or store manager and they see you as a viable product, first you get to practice your pitch, right? You get to say, hey, this is my product. This is why I think it would be a good fit. They will ask you questions. So it'll give you a little bit of back and forth. And here's the nice thing. If that store manager, department manager becomes a champion, they could go contact a buyer and say, hey, this guy walked into the store and talking about this product, I think it would be good, right? And that handoff could lead to it. The chances of you going in and getting a name, slim to none, but I'm going to give you a real live example that happened to me 2 months ago. I shop a certain store in Missoula, Montana all the time. And I have a client who has product that belongs there. And in the process of shopping there, it's a kid focused item and I have kids. And so I simply asked one of the associates, do you have this item? And they say, no, but man, we get asked that a lot. I'm like, I know someone who sells that. And they go, oh, and I said, how would I even get into a store? We just started a conversation. And so we had that conversation, like you need to talk to a line manager. And so I talked to a line manager. It was not the correct line manager, but it was a line manager and he was great. We spent 20 minutes just sitting there talking about, oh yeah, sometimes we can bring things in locally in just a one store. Sometimes we do have to go through corporate. But the person that you need to get a hold of isn't here today. And he wrote down her name and email address for me. I sent her a couple messages. She never replied to it. So I threw some samples in my car and drove back into Missoula and said, hey, is so-and-so here? And they said, yes, she is. And so when she came to the front, old school pitched her the product and had the conversation. She's like, I hadn't seen your email. Sorry about that. And she loved it. Like she loved it. And she's like, I will go talk to our store manager and see if we can put this in front. And I gave her the samples. I said, if there's anything else that you need from me, let me know. And I gave her a card, a good old fashioned card. And, Yeah. So I sent her a follow-up email saying, hey, just wanted to make sure you got this. She's like, got your email. And then she told me that she got the product in front of the buyer, but lo and behold, they had an exclusive, so they couldn't put us in. But I said, that's fine. I get it. That happens. But I also said, are you able to give me that person's information so that I can follow up, figure out how long the exclusive is, and then try again? And she said, absolutely, and gave me the contact information. We contacted that buyer at the corporate office and have been talking back and forth ever since. So just by walking in the store, I had tried numerous tries. I tried LinkedIn. I had tried some of the other ways that I know how to get buyers' names and numbers. I just never was able to do it. But just walking into the store, starting up a conversation, becoming friendly, she was a champion. She wasn't just passing along information. She loved the product. So I know that there's someone inside of that retailer that loves my product. And I can go talk to them and they're open and sharing information with us. So never underestimate the power of walking into the store. We will get to store walks later and all of the other information that you get from being in a store. But a buyer's contact or some sort of contact with a corporate office or a buying entity, you can absolutely get inside of a store. So your action item this week is pretty simple. Just go into a store and start a conversation. Don't even ask for a buyer's name. Just talk to a department manager. Say, hey, what's working? What's not working? I have this product. Do you think it's good? Do you like it? And just have a conversation. Don't ask for anything and then just walk out. And then 2 weeks later, go in, know their name, start up a conversation, ask a little bit about how things are going, and then go away. To start that relationship. This is all part of a bigger, broader networking conversation. Because if you become friendly with a department manager that you might someday be in, you will get an endless amount of really, really good information from that person. So that's your task. Go into a store, talk to a department manager, find out a little bit about them, become friendly with them. And if it doesn't work, go to another store, right? Not everybody is friendly. It's just how the world works. Awesome. Up next, we are going to be talking about networking, true networking, a little bit more than just, groups that are specifically for entrepreneurs, but industry and things like that. It is an absolute great way to get some buyer contact information. Thanks again.